We are live, gentlemen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another After Hours. My name is Mark DeMayo. I'm your host. My co-host, my partner in all things law enforcement is with me tonight with Bill.
How's it going? Great to be here. I pulled.
You can hear me?
Yeah, something's going wrong. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
okay, we're doing good now.
All right, I heard you before, but all right, we were on a delay there. So anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. We have an exciting guest tonight. He's a retired NYPD Brooklyn North Homicide Sergeant. He was the assistant chief of patrol for the Taxi and Limousine Commission. He was a big shot at JetBlue, and he's currently working at. I just heard the new one. I didn't see it on your resume, but let's give it up for Shaun Kelly, folks. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you, guys. How you doing?
Shaun, you've had more jobs than anyone I know since they left the job. You know.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to afford a great education for the kids. You know.
Well, that's what it's all about, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all about the kids.
Yeah, they're God's blessing.
That's what you know. What nobody understands it. I didn't understand it until you actually have kids. It's
yeah.
I don't care. Where are you?
I'm home now. I'm in Long Island, so I just got off work a little while ago. I'm the captain over at Adelphi University. I'm in charge of the emergency management and training for Adelphi University.
That sounds like a very responsible job, Shaun, you know?
Oh, yeah, it is.
In fact, I'm going to show you wearing your Good Humor shirt. That's your Adelphi uniform?
I wear it once in a while.
In case they have like, what do they have over there? Like a book missing or something? Somebody returned it to the library?
Hey, you know what? I really can't talk about it, but it's busy. It's busy. Even though a lot of kids didn't come back this semester, a lot of stuff is being done over the Zoom, but we do still have a lot of kids on campus, and it's a wonderful, wonderful university. I'm honored to be working at the Adelphi University.
What's the biggest, the biggest thing you get involved in?
Well, my biggest thing over there is just the emergency management because, as you know, over the years, we had a lot of different events that happen on campuses, from shootings to everything. So I pretty much have like the emergency management plans go into effect, threat assessment, and I'm actually in charge of the diversity training for the security department. So diversity and inclusion, which we train. I'm actually have about 30 some guys. I just got finished training the last training session tomorrow morning, so we can be one community with the officers. So they're not looking at us as Castafo, agents coming in. I like everybody to be, know that we're there for them, help them out, time of needs. And we have a lot of former and current officers, children that go there. So I like to provide safety for them as well.
Hey, Bill, did you notice Glenda from Pop? Glenda, I said it good before. Pospisil.
Oh, yes, she's from Australia, right?
Hi, Glenda. Glenda
from Australia. It's amazing. What time is it in Australia? It must be 2 days from now.
This is gonna be old news by the time you get it. Yeah, it's amazing how we got people that come on, like they're waiting for us to come on. Scotty Wagner's there, of course, because he ain't got nothing better to do. Peter Pranzo, what's up, Scotty? Michael McCoff, Oscar.
Oscar was one of the SBA delegates with us. Remember, we used to have dinner and plot things we were going to do.
Oh, let me tell you something. Oscar's a good man. I had the pleasure of working with him and Billy were delegates together. Let me tell you something. Some great men I had the honor of working with and in the SBA. Truly an honor.
Remember when we had that round table with Pulaski? That was
my God. Right? Yeah, that was crazy, but we came in there with a cause and a purpose. We try to get things done. You talk about some street cops, good men sitting at the table trying to get things done the right way. And it's hard talking to somebody that really wasn't an investigation, So,
He didn't really want to hear what we had to say either.
Not at all. Yes, Mr. Daff was like, get out of my office,
All right, we did the hour. Now get out of here.
I had a one-on-one meeting with him too. That was pretty interesting for this course that I came up.
Smart guy, but you want to hear what he had to say.
Yeah. It was on social media and how to catch bad guys off of social media. I created like a training course, and I had to go in there and walk him through it. I was scared, I tell you that. It was just me, him, and the guy I had to talk to when I had to answer a question. I would answer that guy, and then he would tell the boss. It was like
Yeah, well, I mean, Billy and I all come from the old school. We know how to knock on doors and hit the streets,
Yeah.
That's right, man. But he didn't want to hear it. So, Shaun, what are you packing these days? You're like 6'4", how much?
6'4", 305.
Oh my God! You gotta be
too much weight.
You're an intimidating guy for a college campus.
Oh, let me tell you something, but it's like the teddy bear coming there and I gotta smooth them. Hey, how's everybody doing? Kill them with kindness. I learned that from my old boss, Eddie Lott in the 7-3 squad. Kill them with kindness. They love you to death,
man. That's great.
Yeah, and then Mike Blake as well. You had on your show.
I love Mike Blake, man.
Mike is. I can tell you, I wish he had stayed a little longer, but excellent supervisor. I had the honor of working under him for some time in narcotics.
Yeah.
Excellent boss.
He's a great man.
Yeah, all around. Great man on the job. Great father. He's a mentor.
Now he's a financial advisor. You're gonna give your money to him or what?
Money. He already has my money already. Merrick Financial Group. That's why I had to work 2 jobs
to cover your losses.
Yeah, Merrick Financial. They do a good job, but they got all my money.
Shaun, I think you're like a Florida guy at heart. I know you're going to escape to Florida one of these days.
Yeah, like I said, right now they're trying to make sure my daughter, she's graduating in May with her MBA from St. John's. So,
that's excellent.
Yeah, that's my pride and joy. So the other 3 boys. So I had 2 in the Marine Corps. So you have 2 sons in the Marine Corps. Yeah, one is just DI. The other one just got out. He went back to Hawaii to work on the wings. He got a contracting job there now.
Wow.
So, and both boys are having children at the same time in this June. So we'll be a grandfather June or July.
Grandpapa. Shaun, I want to recount a funny story to you. I don't know if you remember it. It was about 2 years ago at the sergeant's Christmas party.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 years. 2 or 3 years ago. Right. And you were hanging out with all brothers, right?
Oh yeah.
And I walked over and it was like the whole thing just broke up. I was like, what did I do?
I said, listen, we all have to get along, Hey, listen. But at heart, I look at everybody equally, I don't discriminate against anybody. We all sat at the table.
I'm just busting chops.
I know. But you know what?
What did I say? I didn't say anything.
Yeah. What's funny is that I grew up in Great Neck, which is predominantly Jewish. I went to a predominantly all Jewish school, and I had to learn a lot of diversity and stuff like that. I went to Temple as kids. My best friend was Jewish.
Wow.
And I went to all Jewish camps. So wow. It was great. I got I got a lot of knowledge of doing that. And then when I came on the job, I was an undercover for 4.5 years. So
you couldn't have been 6'4", 305 as an undercover.
No, I was 6'4", 100. I was 180 pounds soaking wringing wet.
Oh my God!
Coming from Nassau County Sheriff's Department, that's why I started my career at law enforcement in Nassau County. So.
And you came on in what, 1990, was it?
Yeah, October 1990. So, but I started in Nassau County before that, 2 years before that. Great experience. A lot of my friends were running around, hanging out in clubs and everything, and I'm sitting on a tier watching inmates at 20 years old. But but you know what? It shaped me to be the person I am today, and give like the right attitude to people and stuff like that. And then it helped me with NYPD.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely did. And then joining, and then when I had the opportunity to be the director in OTCB and SBA, under Ed Mullins, that was another great experience, and then working with you guys when I came back to the Bureau as a boss, that was outstanding,
Well, were you in the Equipment Bureau?
Yeah, the equipment bureau. Yeah, that's what wanted to put me at if I had one more shooting now. Yeah.
How many shootings did you have?
I had 5 shootings, and that's what told me my next stop was going to be the property clerk's office. I was like, oh, you gotta kill me.
But you were in the 7.9, right? In the 8.4, and
I started in the 105 for a hot minute. It was nice. It was close to home, but I would never recommend as a new rookie coming on the job going to Queens, maybe in your latter part of your career. And Mike Blake used to break my shoes about that. Oh, you haven't been a cop till you got to Brooklyn. And I put in for Brooklyn, and I never left. Couldn't even get me back when they was trying to force me to Queens. I'm like, I'm staying in Brooklyn.
That's because you worked in Do or Die Bed-Stuy, right?
I worked there. I worked in 6-7, the Terror Dome. It was but a lot of great people in those communities. Though they treated me well. Never really had any issues over there. And again, when you work in those 8 houses, you know how it is. You know the streets, you know the people, you know the players out there. You know what you got to do. You got to talk to the community to get what you got to get.
For sure.
Hey, Nick the Goat 845. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Hey, before we started, you mentioned you were telling the story, and I always get nervous because sometimes you go on a little bit earlier, people start telling these great stories, so I don't want to forget it. You were talking about being involved in a shooting, and at the same time there was another shooting. Tell us about that.
Yes, and Billy knows as well. March 10th is a very bad day in NYPD history. We lost some great officers, and that was my first shooting in Queens Narcotics. We were out there doing a buy and bust operation, and we actually were doing a case buy. And the guy came out the house, told us to get away from him, and we knew he was one of the subjects we were trying to buy from. So it was another ghost we had on the block. It was 164 in Henderson in the 103 precinct. Guy said, if I come back here, you're still here, you're going to get it. Guy comes out the house. He's about 20 feet away from us and starts shooting at us. And our field team is down the block, and we're coming over the air, 1013, 164 in Henderson. And the next thing you know, Central saying, what borough are you in? I'm like, Queens. She goes, 164 is not in Manhattan. 164 is in Queens. And then at the same time, didn't realize Detective Lopez, who was in Manhattan North Narcotics, he got shot and killed. And our 1013s came over at the same time. And, we lost a good brother to the fight out there. And we had the 2 undercovers from Staten Island get killed the same day buying guns.
Oh, man. I remember that. So, I went out there to that. One of them used to work in the 2-3. I think Nemerin, Officer Nemerin.
Usually March 10th, I always take off because, it's like it's a day that, I just like staying home and just do nothing. They can't figure out why, but, it's just too many good people. Even losing one officer is just devastating. And, all across my career, I worked with in the 6-7 with Parker and Rafferty when I was a night watch. And I actually was a sergeant in auto larceny at the time. I was off duty and heard of it, and I raced right to Kings County Hospital, and I was looked at Bobby on the table there, and I was with at the time Inspector DiDonato, Espo was in the room, and just the frustration in your face and in your heart because they were like family to us, and every time that day comes up around September, it's very very emotional, just like this 20th anniversary, because like Billy, you and I both on the job for the first bombing in 93 and the second one in 2011. Yep. So, I remember, it's just things are sad, but thank God we're here today to talk about it and, and reflect on those days.
Shaun, you used the term, just for our listeners, you used the term ghost, and a ghost in narcotics is someone who he follows the undercover. He's the backup for the undercover, and he protects the undercover in case someone jumps the undercover. So that's the term ghost. I just want to let our people that aren't from the police world know that.
Yes, it's a hard job. Just buying drugs. I mean, and the time I was in narcotics, I worked in the district for a hot second, and then I went upstairs to major case, and I was buying kilos, I was buying guns, everything. In a 6-month period, I bought over 400 firearms and 2 pipe bombs.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my sergeant at the time was Larry O'Leary.
I know. I played football with Larry.
Yeah,
as a kid.
Yeah, Larry's a good man. I see him once in a while.
He's a tough dude. He was on the NYPD football team for 14 years. Good, as he would describe it, I was the monster linebacker.
Let me tell you something. We used to break his shoes all the time, but he was a gentleman in the sky.
He was a tough dude, Larry.
Yeah. Well, we broke his shoes in narcotics. We called his wife to find out what tour we were doing the next day.
That's great.
I was great. I was so happy to see him at the SBA party a few years ago. Still looking good, great shape, great man.
Shaun, you had some wild career, man. I had no idea you were an undercover. 400 guns you bought?
Yeah.
That's very impressive, man.
Yeah, I was on loan to the Joint Firearms Task Force, which at that time was working with the real ATF on Queens Boulevard. And I got to work with Vic Chalkwick, Michael Parker, and all those guys. Brendan Finn from the pipe band. Very good team. Got to work with, and their case was all federal, which was great. So
what was your hook? Like, how did you? What was your personality as an undercover? Like, did you dress a certain way? Where were you from?
I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you a story. You're not even gonna believe it. My wife says, "Oh, you grew up in Great Neck, which are like an all Jewish area. Who's gonna sell you drugs?" I showed her what I did and what I bought. She still can't believe it. She goes, "They gotta be some stupid criminals out there." I said, "No, you have the gift of the gab. You gotta talk to these individuals." I infiltrated the Colombians, Asians. What else? We had buying units in Lower Manhattan. It was crazy. I went up to Manhattan. I think that was as scared as I ever was. I saw this kid. He had to be like 4'11". I get behind the door. They had more locks on there, and the gun was bigger than him. And he was trying to make me take a hit. And I'm like, I know it wasn't going to do a forced ingestion where you actually have to take a hit of the cocaine or the heroin. I wasn't doing that. So you have to have a gift of the gab. And I was in there with no firearm because when I used to go into these buildings and stuff like that behind closed doors, that's the last thing I wanted to do is get caught with a firearm. You're outnumbered, So I'd rather take my chances with my hands, So I can still fight. But Billy will tell you, it's a strange world. And I knew my field team. We had some great guys. Most of them were all Brooklyn cops. So I knew if I had to get out of there, they heard that noise. They were coming through that door. So I was blessed.
And Shaun, sometimes another thing that some of our listeners don't know. Did you have a Kel on with you for the backup team?
Sometimes I had a Kel. Larry was big with me on wearing a Kel. I was totally against it because first of all, I was like skin and bones and it would heat up on my body. And then some of the stuff we had stuff from 1960. So I'm walking around with a hat that had Palomar cigarettes or something like that. I'm like, who the hell? I'm walking around and stuff in Jamaica. So I had to fit in. And, knowing the territory and stuff like that, I got cut on my middle finger. They cut me down to my bone for buying 2 vials of crack because the guy said he didn't recognize me. So he said, if a police come in and I get caught, I know you're the cop. I know how I marked you. So he was a lost subject for a while, and they got him like 3 weeks later. Those things are hard to do. Huh?
What did he use? How did he cut you? What did he use?
He had a razor. He had a razor. Just like in jail, these guys spit the razor out of their mouth. They have it in their mouth to cut you. So
when you got him, did you slap the shit out of him or what?
Well, I was still I was still an undercover. So the field team, whatever they did, they did. At the end of the day, he was under arrest, and I just gave the description of him, and that was it. Yeah. Like I said, we had a really good unit when I was working downstairs with Larry O'Leary, and then when I flipped became investigator, I was working under Mike Blake, and we had a set routine, And Mike is like this. He runs his ship the way he runs his ship. So he's been like that his whole time. So no nonsense. Everything is, by the book. We have to do it. And then, that's why I learned a lot of my supervising skills also. So,
Hey, that's good because you had good bosses. So you just
I had
emulated
excellent
them.
bosses, even going up when I got to auto crime too. I was in auto crime. I had a good friend of mine. We didn't let anybody know we were friends. Lieutenant at the time, David Little, retired as a captain. That guy thought the money was coming out of his pockets. I love him. We're still friends to the day. But we have to respect him. He's the boss. And at the end of my career, I had the pleasure and the honor of working for Lieutenant Cornicello from Homicide. Very, very, very strong guy. Me and him bumped heads in the beginning, but I respect him, through and through to this day, because we all have different ways of supervising, but he's a great investigator, great boss. Love him to death. So
that's great, man.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Being in the squad, you got to trust the people you're around, and he gave me the opportunity to work for him in homicide, and I was happy for that. I had the pleasure of having a really good team. Unfortunately, I lost one of my guys, two of my guys actually. I lost one to a horrific accident, and I lost another one to 9/11 with cancer. Johnny Christopherson. He was a really, really great guy. He was the soul of the team. Held everybody together. So he's dearly missed. Dearly missed.
Shaun, I know this year is this September is the 20-year anniversary,
right.
And everyone has their own memories of 9/11, specifically responding to the scene. And I want to just, for commemoration reasons, meet with the three guys that I was with that day. At least, maybe have dinner together a week before or something. And I was with Billy Hicks, Jimmy Zarakis, and Zedekiah Jennings. And that shows you when they talk about the melting pot of New York City, there was myself, a white guy, Jennings from St. Thomas, a black guy, Billy Hicks, a black guy from Brentwood, Long Island, and Jimmy Zarakis, a big Greek guy from Long Island who was a wrestler. That's the NYPD, and something responding there. I remember the first building had come down just as we had left at 2-3. And on the way down the FDR, which was empty except for emergency vehicles, Billy Hicks said, let's park at South and Pike and we'll walk from there. And I said, that's a good idea, Billy. And we walked, and that decision that he made and I listened to probably saved our lives.
Yeah. I mean, if you reflect back to those days, and I was a midnight sergeant, and it was, I remember, I think A2 or A3. And I just got off, and my daughter was going to Merrick Day School. So I'm trying to rush home. And then I heard over the news that planes hit the building. And I turned around because they said it wasn't sounding right. And just the atmosphere of this still quiet and everything. I get back to the 6-7, and let me tell you something. Every one of those men and women working in that command was going out there for free if they had to.
Yep.
And the brothers and sisters, we all joined together hand by hand. And we would stuff in the cars. They was like, stop, we need people to go later. And I had a team ready to go. And I remember I had a rookie female, and her father was a battalion chief in the fire department. And she's telling me that they can't find him. And I was like, don't worry about it. You can't worry about it. And they found him the next day when we were down there. And it was sad. It was sad, but just when we got down there, it's just the smell of the burning bodies and just how the air was, and trying to get around, and it never leaves you. It never leaves you. And my last day actually working down in 9/11 was Thanksgiving Day of 2001, and I was patrol supervisor with another guy. This guy John Perone. And we were both down there on Thanksgiving Day as patrol supervisors. And, said, this is where we're spending our Thanksgiving. This has got to suck, But later on, they needed this out there. We were out there for everyone, for all the brothers and sisters in blue, and the people of the city of New York.
Sean, there was such like a warm feeling,
Yeah.
the way the citizenry felt about the police back then.
Right.
I wish that the cops now could feel what that was like, because they're so underappreciated right now.
You know what? I think that's all going to come back. We all, if you remember how the police department was years ago, like we'll use the colors of the shirt when they were all dark and then they went to light. I think the respect that, for the community and for the police are all going to come back. We just have to give it some time. There's a lot of things going on that politically they put the police involved in that they shouldn't have been involved in. And even with this COVID thing, it's hard. You gotta, these men and women out there trying to protect the citizens of the city of New York, which you and I did for over 20 some odd years. But it's things are going to come around. I pray every day that the people realize that the good men and women that are on the force, they're out there to help them. And I think that's going to be a big thing, hopefully, in this next election, that they'll recognize that the men and women of the NYPD are out there to help them. You got some great people. Look at Jeff Madry. Jeff Madry,
yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you something. We were bosses. He was my lieutenant when I first got to the 6-7. That guy is a good man through and through. The job is lucky they have somebody like Jeff Madry. I can't. The words can't express how much of an inspiration he is to a lot of these young officers, coming up, because they are trying to mimic what he did. He was a street guy. He was an anti-crime in the 110. He was in the 7-7 as a sergeant, lieutenant in the 6-7. He did his thing coming up, and not only was he respected by the officers, he was respected by every community he worked in.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And
Right.
something I feel for the cops today because of the lack of support. And it seems like the NYPD is the punching bag for the politicians,
Yeah,
and when I think of the ineptitude of these politicians, the police department is the most competent agency in the whole city.
Yeah, it is. They are. I mean, I love, like I said, I still believe blue through and through. I love the department. I was, like I said, if it was for the NYPD, I wouldn't have got the jobs that I did after leaving the NYPD. And I respect the men and women today still going out there and doing it. My kids are still going in and out of the city, and I get nervous, but I got to leave it in God's hands that, they'll go to the safe area, but they have good men and women out there protecting them,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? I think, we have still good leaders in the police department. We have, the new chief of department, Rodney Harrison. We were undercovers, and we were squad in the 7-1 squad. I was in night watch, and his XO, Miguel Iglesias, he was my undercover in narcotics. These guys are 2- and 3-star chiefs now.
Sean, it's so amazing the amount of years that go by when you're on the police department, and how you can run into people 30 years later and still have a warm feeling about them, greet them in public, hey, and they still remember you all the time.
Well, you know what? The people that is mentioned, they are real people. They're not phonies. They didn't get up the rank and forget where they came from. Like I said, especially with the current administration, like Jeff Madry. Hey, what's going on? We sit there, we see each other at different events. When I had the privilege and the honor to work for the Honorable Ken Thompson at the Brooklyn DA's office, who passed away in his 3rd year, I used to run into all these people at all these different events. And let me tell you something, they were all still, hey, Sean, how you doing? It's good, because not only that, we were Brooklyn.
Well, all those guys, the guys who ran away when I walked up.
No. Come on, man.
Sean, we gotta take a quick break. Mark,
all right,
do your thing.
Okay.
Hey, just so everybody knows, if you're enjoying the show, please trust us on this. We have an inside thing here. We know what the best hot sauce in the world is, and the best hot sauce in the world is Silk City hot sauce. It's made in small batches using pure ingredients and locally grown peppers. and they have a lot of amazing different flavors from mild to wild. And if you go on to silkcityhotsauce.com and you enter the coupon code OTC, you can get a 15% discount on Bobby's Biggs Chipotle, Aztec Attack, Badass Jew, Slurp, Mango Madness, Climate Change, Maple Dragon, Killer Hot, and Ghost Whisper. And trust me, I love hot sauce, and this is the best hot sauce that I've ever had. All right, so go check it out, silkcityhotsauce.com. Don't forget to use your coupon code OTC to get a 15% discount.
Well done, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was the best you've ever read that copy.
Yeah,
where's that hot sauce that big guy?
Funny. You said that last week too. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Teddy Crow, like Russell Crowe, Terry Crow, and he's from Knoxville, Tennessee, and he went out of his way to send me a couple of patches that Bill and I received over here. They're for both of us. Bill, you're gonna
that's great, man.
Yeah, and a coin, and in return we're gonna send him a mug. I just have to get to the post office, and I don't know what it's like getting to the post office in Tennessee, but let me tell you something. It's a big pain in the ass trying to get there here in New York. So please be patient, Terry. That's all I'm saying. I'll get there. I'll get there soon. I promise.
Shaun, you know something? Yes. When you first retired, was it 2002 you retired?
No, I actually left 2012. January.
I'm sorry, 2012.
I retired too.
Yeah.
Now the first job you had, because you've had more jobs than any retired guy that I know after you left the department. What was your first job?
I had the great honor and to work at the United Nations. I actually worked for the United Nations Development Program for the number 3 undersecretary in the UN, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Miss Helen Clark. I was in charge of her detail. Very, very positive woman. Love her to death. You know, she was stern. I always get these stern bosses at the end of my career, but we had a great working relationship. A lot of traveling, you know, but it's I was honored to have that position. I was there for like 3.5 years. I get a phone call from a friend, tells me that a new DA is coming into Brooklyn. He's looking for somebody to go on his detail. And I said, okay, no problem, you know, because at the UN they have contracts, so you get 1-year contracts. So I was a little nervous coming out out of the box. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. So I could have been there like another 4 years or another year, depending on how long the administrator was staying. So I took the opportunity and I went to the Brooklyn DA's office, where I was assigned to the Executive Protection Detail. I actually did that for same thing, about 3.5 years, and then the DA passed away. But in that short period of time, I got promoted 2 times. So, and then as of leaving there, I was in charge of the command center, which is the largest command center at a DA's office. I think we're the largest. I think the 3rd largest in the country. So we had over 600 attorneys and stuff like that. Still very close with the wife and children. You know, every time his birthday was a week before mine, and he passed away at 51 years old from colon cancer.
Wow.
So, you know what? I always tell people, make sure you get your test. You know, it's a very, very, you know, easy thing to do. But, you know, it hurt, you know, watching him pass away like that. That was one of the reasons I left that office, and I had the opportunity to work for our good friend Loretta Kennedy.
That's right.
Yeah, Loretta Kennedy. You know
he worked at JetBlue,
right?
JetBlue. Let me tell you something. What a wonderful woman. She is a great boss. She's outstanding. She didn't no nonsense. She stands up toe to toe to anybody.
She hit a home run. When she came on the show, she hit a grand slam. People still.
Let me tell you something. She, you know, if every company could have somebody like her, you know, it would be a home run. You know, I hope she's enjoying her retirement with her family and her grandchildren. Very, very excellent supervisor and manager. And the only reason I left JetBlue is that my daughter told me that she's going to grad school, and she going back to St. John's. And I looked up the price, and I said, $75,000. I said, I get a better job. Yeah, so I started hitting the circuits and stuff, and that's how I ended up in TLC. So,
Oh, hey, wait, take it easy, man. You're jumping jobs right on the show. We can't keep up with this.
yeah,
12-step
so
woman, thank you so much for that $9.99 super sticker. You're the best. Thank
And
you
don't
so much.
forget about Blondie, 1025. She also did a $5 super chat.
Thank you,
I don't know what the
Blondie.
difference is
And
between-
we have to say hello to the Lieutenant Pete Pranzo and, of course, Richella Pranzo. They're here every single week. They're two of our biggest supporters.
and Michael
Lieutenant
Cologne too. Don't forget about
Michael Cologne. That's right. Janice Raycraft.
She says hi,
Cheated
Sean.
No More.
Janice,
with
that's
Kelly.
my girl, Night Watch.
Oh,
Oh
she
my
was one of your
God.
Night Watch people?
Oh, Janice was the best. You talking
Yeah.
about cooking and knitting? Oh, Janice is the excellent. Oh,
Elise
yeah.
D, Matt Sully, Scott Wagner.
Uh-huh.
Who else we got
Miss
here?
Angela. Miss Angela, 3233.
Miss Angela. You know, some people like that I don't even know say, "Oh, we don't like when you shout out to the people." I go, "Dude, change the channel." Yeah, you don't like it. That's too bad.
Your
Go
show.
on, do your own show. Get your own podcast. You know.
Yeah, listen, this is the evolution. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens.
Let me tell you something. I'm hearing some names, man. I'm really starting to get emotional. You know, say Janice. You know, we had it. It was great back in the days in Night Watch. Me and my old partner, my daughter's godfather. You know, I think we had 6 or 7 years on the job with detectives. We go into the Brooklyn South, the borough. We're doing Night Watch. The next closest person to us had 18 or 19 years on the job. We're there.
You were Night Watch?
Yeah, I was in Night Watch. Brooklyn
When?
Night Watch.
7 years on the job?
7 years on the job.
So you made detective and then you went to Night Watch?
I went detective. I was still in OCCB for a while, and then I went to Night Watch.
Wow, that's early to be in Night Watch.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I got a chance to learn from a lot of senior detectives there. Great job.
You know, before we run out of time, let's talk about you because you were a sergeant in Brooklyn North Homicide Squad.
Yes.
Tell us that. You must have. I mean, how many murders were like? You were in this heyday.
There was a lot of murders out there. It was sad to see a lot of young people getting murdered for nonsense. You know, you shouldn't get murdered for anybody. Anytime it's a loss of life, and you know, it's sad. But like Bill can tell you also, Brooklyn was just a little crazy, especially in the north. And we were split up into teams. Like we were 4 and 2s. So it wasn't like other boroughs had 5 on, 2 off. I was actually in a team with my guys. So we did 4 on, 2 off. And I think we were still catching somewhere like 150 some odd homicides, you know, for a team. And my guys were great.
Not even for the whole squad.
Not even for the whole squad. I mean, I was the E team supervisor. I think between the E team and the A team,
What years are we talking about? What years are we talking about?
I was in homicide from 2009 until I retired. So, but we had a lot of this stuff. We were always living in the 7.5, 8.1, 7.3. You know, all the heavy commands, 7.9.
Sean, I had one of your detectives on, Sean McTighe, talking about the Ahmet Sangian case, which you guys did an unbelievable job on. Not just you, but the 7.5 squad. Crime scene, that was a big forensic case.
Yeah. You know, the men and women that work in homicide, I take my hats off to them. They're excellent, excellent investigators. They do a job that nobody else wants to do. Just like in special victims, you know, it's a hard job. You got to deal with this, and going to the morgue, and I think the first time I saw a baby, how they did autopsy of the baby, I was emotional for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, I got to take off because the ability, you know, it's very, very depressing, you know.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Those were the hardest, the baby homicides were some of the hardest, you know.
And we got a few in Brooklyn during my time. And even when I was in the 7.9, they had the Nixbury Brown case, which one of my guys had, Steve, and he did an excellent job on that with the guys from the homicide office, you know. So
that was a famous, for our listeners, that was a famous child abuse case that they wanted to know how this slipped through the cracks because she was abused for a long time.
I mean, I had a case. They had a 6-year-old kid, and I think she was 40. I think she was like less than 45 pounds. She was all skin and bones, and it was over in the 8-1, and all you found on the table was beer bottles and half smoked blunts. You know, it was very sad. And I know ACS has a very difficult job, but you know, we got to start paying attention to these kids more. I mean, just like the poor little 10-year-old boy who was killed up in Harlem the other day by the mother's boyfriend, you know, and Chief Madry said it the best. If you get a call and you hear something about a kid yelling and screaming and crying, you knock on every one of those doors until you get that person, because, you know, a young person's life shouldn't be tormented like that by somebody. You know, they didn't ask to come to the
Sean,
school.
you know as well as I do, when as a patrol supervisor, I'm sure you removed a lot of kids, and I did too.
Yeah.
And it was our job to make the determination that this kid's in imminent danger, and it didn't take much for me to determine that.
No.
If I saw no food,
because we're parents, and we know how we treat our children, and our thing is that I want to make sure that child is safe. Just like at my current job at the Adelphi, I treat them as my own children, and I want to make sure that every parent knows that if they send their child to that university, I'm gonna treat them like my own. I want to make sure they have a good education and that they actually are safe, and they don't have to worry about their children. If they have anything, they know to call me. No,
Sean, I'll tell you something. You're a great man, and the only problem I'd have at Adelphi is that you're going to leave for your next job soon.
No.
How long you been there, Sean? How long you been there?
I've been there since January.
No!
So just let them know they got 3 years left.
No, you know what? This is
3.5 years. That's your limit, man. 3.5 years. Like, when you're dating. When you're dating, and then like she's like, well, we've been together for 3 years. What are we doing? You fail out.
This is a good. All of them are good, but you know what? This is so close to home, and I'm not getting any younger. I got a birthday next week. I'll be 54 years old, so I gotta slow down a little bit here. You know.
Well, I'm 53 too, so we got a lot in common. You came out earlier than me, but I did my 20. I got out in 2012 too. I'm 53.
Yes. Yeah, and again, we all have to slow down. We have to take advantage of, I got more time behind me than I do in front of me, so I'm just trying to make it last.
Yeah, you're in the you're in the late third quarter.
Yeah,
I'm in the fourth quarter though. I'm 10 years older than you guys.
Oh, listen,
I am definitely in the fourth quarter right now.
2 minutes into the fourth quarter right now.
That's right.
But how's your son doing, Billy? Billy, how's your son doing?
My son's doing great.
I love him to death.
I know. Sean tried to help my oldest son numerous times. He wound up getting a job in cybersecurity, and he's working right next door in the next room.
Great.
Yeah, he's doing very well, man. He worked hard. He's got his master's in international security, so he's a good kid.
Yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there for him. Trust me, I know. Tell him.
Maybe he'll take one of yours when you leave.
Oh yeah, please. I'm gonna try to wrap it up. By the age of 62. So that's it. Calling it quits. But like I said, I want to thank everybody, for allowing me to talk with you guys today, and express my views and opinions. And like I said, working with you, Bill, and then in the bureau and being the delegates together and the detective bureau, it was an honor. And with Oscar,
Oscar Serafino, it was a lot of fun, man. Great guys.
Vinny Valley Long is our point man.
He's still there. Vinny's still there, man.
I talk to him once in a while. He gives me the I'll call you back. I know Vinny.
Oh, you know who we're having on this Thursday?
Who?
Sergeant Ed.
Oh,
Ed Mullins.
Yeah, I saw him recently. I ran into him. Looking good.
Yeah. Sergeant Ed's going to come on. So he's he's been on our show before. He's a great guest to have on.
We had a $10 one, Bill. I can't see.
Duty Ron, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You're the man.
Duty Ron.
He's keeping us in business here.
Yeah.
Duty
I'm
Ron
glad,
has
I'm
helped us
glad.
with a lot of his fans watch the police off the cuff. They go from Duty Ron to our show, and he's helped us build up our following on YouTube from 1,400 to 3,060, and
Wow.
we're growing. We're growing. Sandy Rivera, thank you so much. And I want to ask you, how many coffee beans in a sambuca?
Oh my
She didn't
goodness.
answer yet.
How many is it? 3?
3, yes.
Really?
Bill,
Wow.
Bill was a bartender. That was one of his many jobs before he got on the job.
That's
Oh,
right.
he's still a young man running around there, professor, you know.
Well, I just remember when I started asking Pulaski some questions, and Shaun says, Cannon sounds like he's a professor. And they go, that's because he is.
Really? I'm like, wow. You know, it's funny in the police department. You get a lot of guys with different backgrounds, and you know, having people like that who are adjunct professors and able to talk to the other members of the job and let them in on their knowledge is great. I mean, every day was a learning experience for me in the NYPD and every job I had. And like I said, the NYPD was great. It was great. I mean, you know, they say you don't miss the circus, you just miss the clowns in the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like
true.
I said, I definitely missed all the men and women that I had the honor and the pleasure of working with throughout those 20 some odd years, you know, and to reflect, like you said, I think on the 20th anniversary, I'm gonna get with some of the guys from the 6-7. I still keep in contact with my old crime team when I was a crime sergeant in the 6-7,
Wow.
and you know, get together with those guys and hang out and talk with them. I got one guy, you know, two of my guys from my old crime team. They're in ESU. So, and you know, Keith Ferguson and I were crime sergeants. And when he went to ESU, he, you know, came back from his trip from Australia and he died, you know, chasing the perp through Midtown. But, you know, those are the kind, I see a lot of good men and women that over those years that succumb to line of duty deaths or, you know, just passing away from, you know, whatever they had as high blood pressure or heart attacks.
Right,
You know,
right.
there's an extended part of my family, you know.
You know, Shaun, the whole thing with anti-crime, for anyone that's ever worked anti-crime, you ask anyone, they'll say that was the best job I ever had on the whole police department was anti-crime, right?
Like anti-crime was good, you know. We were out there in the community. We were getting up marching orders from the inspectors or whoever your CO came in was. And but today they're not doing it like we did back in the days. We knew how to talk to people, and you know they're not doing that anymore. A lot of the young kids they're pulling up, not even get out in the car to talk to somebody, and that's just very dangerous. You saw what happened to the young man in the 105. You know, he got shot while he was in the car. You know, it's a shame. You know, you got to learn. My old partner, when I first came on the job, he came on the job in '73. You know, and you know how it was back then, Bill. You tell you, hey, sit there, shut up, don't touch the radio until I tell you to.
Right,
you know, and he, like he said, the job is so easy in the police department. You're filling out the boxes. You know, check this box, check that box, put that person's name in there. It's over with the 61 or the AIDA card or the toe tag, the MV104. It's just filling the blanks.
Right,
you know?
right.
You know, and at the time we all got hired, the pay was a lot less than what these kids are getting now, you know?
Thank you, Ryan Investigative Group, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Bugsy Cruiser. Kathy Schumacher, are you another one that worked with Shaun? I don't know. Is there a Kathy Schumacher in your past, Shaun?
Oh, I don't remember the name, but
okay.
Hey, don't forget about Cheated No More. $5. I don't know the difference between the super chat.
Well, thank you, Cheated No More. We really appreciate it. And now, Shaun, what at Adelphi? I know you're like the incident commander and the emergency management commander.
Right.
But what is your day-to-day interaction with the students?
Well, my personal interaction is I have I keep a sergeant with me who is like the admin sergeant. I have him right now during this whole COVID crisis. We have student workers that actually go into most of the general areas where the students are, say, hanging out, doing their work, or having something to eat. I have them pretty much walk around making sure that everybody is properly masked up, dealing with any kind of issues they may have going on in the campus, any conflicts, threat assessment. If we have a conflict between a student and a teacher, and like I said, diversity training, which is really big now with everything that's going on, and the Title IX incidents that we have to stay on top of, which are very, very sensitive in today's climate. So I have to pretty much keep my finger and pulse on that and make sure that everything is running smoothly. And my boss, who's director of security, we pretty much do all the investigations together, and we sit down. We have 2 or 3 going on right now, and we're pretty much getting ready to wrap them up. We work together with the Garden City Police Department, Nassau County Police Department, and we have to get outside law enforcement involved. But pretty much we try to handle everything in house. But
Shaun, let me ask you, because you were a sergeant in Brooklyn North Homicide, and you mentioned a couple of times having your finger on the pulse. What do you think? What do you think is our future here in New York City? In Long Island, but what do you think's going to get better before it gets worse? What's going to happen?
It's just like in every situation. We gotta pray and hope that everything will get better, and I believe it is. I believe with the right leadership going forward, and I think they're trying to put all the puzzles together now to get the right combination. I think we can get the city back up and running, and we can get a hold on this unnecessary shootings with these young adults out in the street, unnecessary shootings, the gang activity. We can pretty much quell that. But again, we have to just make sure it's done the right way. I mean, I know you had talked about the funding, but I mean, it's just reallocating some money to better training here and there, because some of the stuff like we have in the police department was probably around from like the 60s. So we can, update some of the material that we have now that they're teaching in the academy, get these young officers trained a little better. And because how the young generation is now, they just all they want to do is text. They don't have any personal skills of going out and talking to the public. I know both of you, when you were young, you had foot posts and you knew who the people were on your block. Today, they don't know that because I talked to some of these people. They never had a foot post in their life because they said they can't do that to them anymore.
Well, what? They have impact. They're working partners, though, and I know somebody who's been doing that for 5 years now.
Right.
So, but I don't understand. Like, if you don't work with that's what the division comes in. If you're doing this impact, you're working by yourself. Okay, there's another guy across the street, whatever, and another guy in the next corner, but you're not working with a partner. You know what I'm saying? You're not really associating yourself with everybody else who's on your tour as much as we used to.
Well, you remember, like back in the days, they had the 9 squad charts, and that's when everybody got to know a little piece of the community because they worked at day, they worked the 4 to 12, they worked at midnight, the 5-2, 5-2, 5-3. But I think it was like 91, 92 when they went to the steady chart. I think that we had like 3 separate police departments at that time.
Yeah, everybody says that, yeah.
And it's a shame because, at least you knew what was going on in your command and maybe at the same sector on all those different tours. And we had the CPOP guys out there too. If something happened in that area, that CPOP guy can tell you, listen, it was this person over here who did this, or did you talk to Mrs. Brown who lived around the corner? She knows what's going on. We don't have that anymore, and I think that we have to get back to that. So hopefully that some of the leaders that we have now in the police department or soon to be new leaders, that they address that situation as more community policing, because I think that's a really big thing now. So the officers can know what's going on in the community and not just sit in the car all day and it's like, when is 1550 coming or 1535 coming,
Yeah, it seems like for patrol anyway, what the task is, if you get up, obviously everybody has to start off on patrol, but right now, when things are this bad, just doing patrol, everybody wants to get out. Everybody wants to go to a detail. Everybody wants to find something else to do.
Yeah, but
You don't have to
you remember back in the days, you had to have at least 5 years on the job to even get into anti-crime. You had to have 5 years to see put an application to go someplace. Now, if you write 15 summonses, you get into anti-crime. That's not the way. That's not the way to do the job. Let's do it the correct way. Let them earn like you earn your seat in the car. You have to go out there. You have to know your community, know what's going on. If you can tell me who owns this bodega, who owns that bodega, who owns that beauty shop, who's the president of that law firm over there, let me know, tell me.
Jacoby and Myers.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill Ryan says when the cops in the George Floyd case are found not guilty, I don't think that's going to happen, but you're going to see the whole country go deeply anti-police. It'll be Rodney King's times 10. I don't think those guys are going to be found not guilty. I don't think that at all. I can't imagine that. But
well, there was just a thing with the autopsy, though. They said that he had enough fentanyl in him to kill him.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe you're right, Bill.
There's a possibility. They said the amount of drugs he had him would have killed him if I don't know if in fact the knee on his neck killed him, but I don't know what the autopsy totally determined. But I think they said that the knee on the neck contributed to his death, which makes it a homicide. Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's any verdict that could come up with that is going to satisfy. There's going to be what there's going to be. That's it. Whether it's good or bad, we're going to have to deal with it. I mean, what they're going on right now, they just rioted this past week about Breonna Taylor. So, they're going to riot. That's not what you have to concern yourself with.
With that, the politicians have to back the police, because I still don't understand without bringing up the whole case, the Breonna Taylor case. They're conducting a warrant. The boyfriend shoots at them. They return fire. She gets killed. How is that the police's fault? It was his fault.
There's a lot of stuff that follows before that, comes before that, which is the dead body in the car that was underneath her name. There's a lot of things that go along with it. It just basically indicate that we're not talking about an angel here.
No.
Anywho,
Shaun, one of the things though too that I find a little bit, and I mean, I wish I could be as optimistic as you are about the police department, but I see a national effort by a lot of people to be anti-police. And for example, a lot of the new technologies really help the police, and a lot of these people are trying to take them away. For example, facial recognition. They're trying to take facial recognition. Gang investigative databases. They're trying to take them away in New York City. I mean, they took away the stop, question, and frisk database. We have the technology of plate readers. That's been challenged by the ACLU. And there's a lot of other things, shot spotters, all of those things that really make.
They're all reminders of the stuff that we have, but should we be using them? They want you to use them in case of emergency. Can you ask us if you can use this, please? That's what they want. They want to you're going to the way we have to do to get, remember phone records used to be so easy to get. And then all of a sudden you had to jump through hoops. And then it got even worse. They don't even want to give you anything anymore. So
I think that's because the police department abused the hell out of the phone companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were doing stolen phones. We were running every phone number on there. It was so stupid, but
that's one of the tools. And back in the days of narcotics, I worked on a few wires, and a lot of you remember back in the early '90s when we had those brick type of phones. And you were paying for every phone call, and we were doing pen registers and stuff like that. And these guys are dumping phones left and right. So I think we had the probable cause to go up on the wire. We went in front of a judge, and they signed off on it. So again, I mean, laws changed throughout the years, but I think using the using that subpoena if you have the probable cause to go up on somebody's phone who's selling drugs or, who kidnap a child. We need those tools, but, we have to, a lot of the public doesn't understand how the police work in certain areas. But again, I think that through more little education, I mean, not to be totally transparent, but we can't let them know everything we're doing because else the criminals will beat us and everything. But there's a lot of great tools that the police department has at their services, and used properly, they're an asset, to
Sean, they even want to take away no-knock warrants. A no-knock warrant protects the cops a lot of times when they're going into a very dangerous situation.
I believe too, like when you talk about no-knock warrants, people don't understand it. Like when we're going behind there to get a guy who has guns and weapons behind the door, and we have a credible source of information, we need the upper hand because, as you know, sitting behind that bunker, going through the door, and now you're like knocking this to police, and now that person behind the door is loading up their shotgun or whatever. It's, we're talking about innocent lives sometimes, but again, I'm not a politician and I'm not a lawyer, but they're gonna have to come together and get some common ground to say, hey, listen, this is what a no-knock warrants for. And I think they have a misconception sometime when they say, was this a no-knock warrant or was it a knock warrant? If you're doing a paper case, you don't need a no-knock warrant. If you're doing just records and stuff, so you don't need a no-knock warrant. You can say, okay,
because that's what they did to Roger Stone, isn't it? They did a no-knock warrant at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was a paper case.
Right, exactly.
But here's the point with that. It's just that, you know what? Unfortunately, the accidents that happen nowadays, we're getting news on a national basis, on a global basis. So, for example, a cop shoots somebody in Amsterdam. They're looking at us over here like, why did you do that? Like, it's not even a country.
But you know what? Again,
this country. So
again,
until we can figure out.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest with you, and I in my heart, I think that hopefully in the next coming election, we're going to get some more strong leaders into office and to shape the police department into bringing back the respect that for the community and the police have together like they had years ago. We can, like I said, I'm a big fan of like the CPOP, get out there, learn your community, and we can get there and we can come to a common ground together, and get this done.
I was part of Mayor Dinkins, man. I wanted to get that book, but they took them away. I wanted to get that CPOP book. You know that book that they used to have?
Yeah, CPOP, yeah.
Office. Remember the CPOP office? And they had that book in there. They used to put I was like, that's where I want to go.
But I think the community policing is going to come back. It's going to come back strong, and I think that you're going to see the respect from the community and the police get back together. I'll bet you on that.
But Sean, you still need the auxiliary units like anti-crime. You really need anti-crime.
If you looked at when they first disbanded it, they talked to some of the leaders in the communities, like in the 7.5 and the 7.3, and they said they didn't tell you to get rid of it. They just told you, can you train the officers a little better? Nobody told you to get rid of this. Over the years, they changed the name of anti-crime. Remember back in the days was Mug and Mary and all that stuff. And transit back in the days had the decoys, and they got rid of that. Right. These are all good tools we had, and they used to say it was entrapment. But it's just how you interpret it was going to be. But I know most of those guys from the transit division, and I know from working in 6-7, whatever, they were out there giving a heart to the city so they can make the subways a safer place, where we're getting these people who weren't abiding by the laws of the city of New York and the state of New York. I got to pay to get on the train, and if you get on the train with your family, you don't want to see all this stuff going on in the train, drugs and homelessness. They got to get a handle on that as well. I mean, there should not be one veteran that served this country that's living on the streets.
Hey,
100%, Sean. 100% right.
Sean, I got an update here, just so you know. You might have another job prospect coming. You ready?
I'm good.
Just saying, look, don't listen. Just listen to the job offer first. Mayor Ted Wheeler seeks $2 million to bring back uniformed police teams to address spiking shootings, and that's in Portland, Oregon. And then look, they need a supervisor there. So there goes the defund the police. All in a nutshell, right there. Mayor Ted Wheeler from Portland, Oregon, is like $2 million for a special team, and they need a leader.
Yeah, well, that was the old Topac unit. I don't think we can do that anymore.
Topac. I love all these words from the past. Topac, SD pop.
$2 million. I'm setting aside. I'm setting aside $250,000 for you. $150,000 up front, and then time, and then you're gonna get together.
You know what? If I was able to take that, my part of the money would go to the Snyder's Children's Hospital for all this.
Because you're a beautiful man. That's why. Because you're a beautiful man. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I hate to see little kids who are like that in that condition. You know, even if I hit lotto, they get three. You know, at least half of it, because you know these young people today. You know, it's sad. You know, and
meanwhile,
it hurts.
I go to the machine there and I'm trying to pay for my groceries, and it says, "Do you want to give 50 cents to some children?" I'm like, "No, just get out of here." No,
listen. No. If it's the kids or ASPCA, they got me.
I'm kidding.
They got me.
I was trying to hit you up for that buck on the way out. Now all of a sudden you're trying to get groceries.
I came to watch the dog commercials at nighttime when they show the dogs freezing. I'm like, tell my wife, turn it off.
That was a bad too. I can't see that either. I got a cat that I feed up here. But
man,
she's probably waiting for me right now, waiting for dinner.
Hey, listen,
anyway, look, we're over an hour here. We got to wrap it up.
All right. Thank you so much again.
Wait. Before you go, Sean, we got to do our wrap up. So our Patreon customers, if you're out there and you still haven't signed up for Patreon, please do that. It helps us produce this show. And please visit patreon.com. Police Off the Cuff. We have 3 tiers. We have the bucket. It starts off $7, and that's for the do nothings on the job. We call the bucket. and then you can polish Bill's rack for $9 a month, and that's really his rack, by the way. And then for $11 a month, you get to dip yourself in butter, and that feels really good. Trust me. When you dip yourself in butter, it feels good. Butter all over you, and you feel like you did the right thing. And also, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do that as well. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Bill has a true crime show that he does for our Patreon customers, and it's amazing. I just listened to it. Tommy Dades. Mark.
I gotta let them know of some upcoming guests. This Thursday night we have SBA President Ed Mullins. Sergeant Ed will be on.
Well, that's me and you, right?
Yes. Okay. And Monday we have retired Chief Joe Fox.
Wow,
who is a fantastic guest.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't ask him already. I mean, or before this. So I just asked him.
All you gotta do is look at his Instagram page, Bill. He's doing big things. He is,
and what a man! What a great man!
Oh yeah,
I mean,
excellent.
The guy's like a priest. He gives he's always, he's the rah-rah guy for the NYPD.
He's the godfather of Brooklyn South.
That's amazing, And this is a surprise, sort of, but I'm going to let you guys know that are listening. On April 6th, I have Tommy Dades coming back.
Okay.
And we have a retired Colombo hitman coming on. I'm not going to give you the name right now, but they both grew up in the same neighborhood, and it's actually Steve Mazza. And they both grew up in the same neighborhood. One became a cop and one became a wise guy. And it's going to be an unbelievable show. And that's on April 6th on Real Crime Stories. I'm going to promote it and send out a flyer, and it's going to be an unbelievable show.
Make sure you send me that link.
I definitely will. You know, Shaun, you are even. I always liked you, and now I even like you more, man. You know, you're one hell of a guy, man. You really
Thank
are.
you, thank you.
I never
I'm
knew
just
you,
blessed.
but I like you now.
Huh?
I said I never knew you before, but I like you now.
Thank you, thank you.
But
You know,
Shaun,
I
next
just
time I go to the SBA Christmas party
yeah.
and you're hanging
Yeah,
out,
you
man,
know, our own table, big guy.
That's right. We used to hang and have dinner together
Yeah,
and all of those things, talking sergeant's
yes.
matters, right?
Oh yeah, and we got great Oscar too. We can't forget about
Oscar
Oscar.
Ferrafino, that's
You know,
right, man.
and hopefully we can tie Vinny down. He's not, you know, he's a big shot now. He's
Vinny
the vice
Vallone's
president.
he's great. I love Vinny, man.
Yeah,
Good man.
but yeah,
Good man.
look, definitely. And you know what? Let's not make this talking online or YouTube. You know, I was glad to hear from you. I'm glad you reached out to me, and it was just nice hearing your voice. And you know, forget a text. Let's just call each other and say hello. How you doing? How the family's doing? You too, brother. Listen, part of the family now.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna hit you up for a job, man.
Hey, listen, I'm just trying to hit lotto, big guy.
Yeah, he doesn't want any more jobs. He's had enough jobs.
Nah, I
need the job. I could use the job, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? My job is to make sure these kids grow up, and you know, and hopefully, there's no rule book to this thing. So I'm doing it all on what I learned from my parents raised me.
You know, all kidding aside, I have a daughter. She's in college. She's graduating right now in June. But
okay,
you know, I don't know who's in charge of security up there. Never even dawned on me to look into it.
What school she go to?
She goes to Cortland.
Okay, listen, big guy, you got my number. Call me.
She's graduating.
I try to stay. We have a network, and we can, you know, always network because we have to look out for our kids, you know, and they do the right things. There's a guy in St. John's, retired ESU captain. You know, we all have our own little network.
Knowing that if my kid went to Adelphi, you know what I'm saying, I'd be very happy knowing that you were in charge.
Let me tell you something. Your daughter will be like, he gave me lunch today. He bought me lunch. We bought a young girl today. She didn't have any, you know, she didn't have any money on her card, and me and my boss, we pay for her to have lunch. You know.
No, if you're out there and your child goes to Adelphi, I feel you should be very comfortable.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
You know, that was beautiful. I would feel comfortable knowing my daughter was going to your school.
Let me tell you something. It's an excellent university. Great leadership there. But again, like I said, we got to call each other. You know, all this text and stuff for the young kids. Let's get on our hard line.
That's right.
That's my message on my cell phone. If you call me, I said, let's go old school, man. Leave a message.
Hard line. So,
that's what I tell people. Leave a message. I want to hear your beautiful voice.
There we go. So
I made a mistake before. It's actually Larry Mazza, not Stephen Mazza. It's Tommy Dades and Larry Mazza on April the 6th. Shaun, you're the best, brother, and I will call you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, thank you. You know something? I can't believe I didn't invite you earlier either because you were a fantastic guest.
I'm glad you got to me when you did, you know, and I'm glad to be part of your show. But thank you again.
You
guys have a blessed day.
You too.
Okay.
To all Police Off the Cuff fans, thank you so much for watching. And on behalf of Mark DeMeo and Bill Cannon, good night.
Good night.